Hey guys, welcome back to this Goblin Biker deck guide combo profile here. I will have a deck profile deck guide for you in the later part of the video where I'll show you a deck list that you can use probably on Wednesday to play this deck. Maybe you see this on Wednesday, then welcome. I will show you the most important combos that you need to understand, the most important one-card combos. I will show you a two-card combo, and then we will also look at the Terra Top combo that you need to understand. This is not a complicated deck. This is something I wanted to say. This is a deck that you can invest into. It will not be one of the strongest decks in the game. This is something to preface here, so think about your investments wisely in this pack. There will be other good archetypes like Temper Dragon that will be better for a long time. Probably there will also be another support wave coming for this, so we not yet have all the Goblin Biker stuff that will be available to us in the future, and the support wave that we will get is actually quite good, so there is some investment argument you can make for the future. But for now, let's look at the combos, and then I will show you a deck list that you can take to the ladder. So we are starting with the tour guide from the Underworld here. Normal summon the tour guide, and the tour guide can special summon one level 3 fiend. We can special summon the Goblin Biker Mean Merciless here. It doesn't really matter what the effect is because it is, as you can see right here, negated. This does not really matter because we want our 2 level 3s to make Goblin Biker Big Gabonga. And Big Gabonga is a card that you basically always want to start with if you can. This is your bread and butter monster of the deck. You need 2 level 3 monsters, which is why we also use in Terra Top that I will show you in the next combo. If this card is XYZ summoned, which we just did, we can add 1 Goblin monster from our deck to our hand. And then the second effect is also important. If material is detached from a monster on the field anywhere, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, except this card, attach it to this card as a material. So this is an interruption here, and I will show you in a moment where you can use this to basically detach a card from your opponent's field. During the end phase, you can attach 1 Goblin, a monster from your deck, to this card as material. Very nice. We can use each effect once. So firstly, let's search here. And we are searching Duck Charter. Duck Charter is something that you can always search. It's a very nice one, a good extender. If this card is in your hand, we can detach 1 XYZ material from a monster on either field. So if you're playing against Pearly, that's quite nice. You can also detach from your opponent's fields. Special summon this card. If this card is normal or special summon, we can add 1 Goblin Biker Spell Trap from deck to hand. So this extends any of our combos here. We are now going to activate the Duck Charger here. We are removing the other Goblin Biker from the Big Gabonga, and we are searching the trap card, or one of the trap cards, the Goblin Biker Grand Pileup, which allows us to target 1 XYZ monster we control, special summon 1 Goblin XYZ monster from our deck by using that target as material, and if we do that, we attach this card to it as a material. So we can basically overlay something on the Big Gabonga, and then the trap card will also be material, and then most of the Goblin Biker cards have multiple effects. We can also banish this card from our graveyard, then target 1 Goblin XYZ monster we control and 1 card in either graveyard, attach the targeted card from the graveyard to that monster on the field. So this is another interruption we will have live in our opponent's turn, whereby we can use this to basically steal a card from our opponent's graveyard and attaching it to a Goblin Biker XYZ, which we will have in a moment on the field on our opponent's turn. So for example, against Snake Eyes or against Jubel, you could steal away their Jubel monster so they can't make a Phantom. You could steal away the Grave Swarmer, or against Fire decks, you could steal away original Sinful Spoils or something like a Garunix, or maybe a Flamberge Dragon, Promethean Princess, you name it. So let's continue here. We have added this, and now we can use the Merciless effect from the graveyard because it says, and now it's relevant, if this gets normal or special summon, we can special summon 1 Goblin monster from our hand, except this one. So this is also cool, not relevant right now, but if we would have something in the hand, remember this is only a 1-card combo I'm showing you here. This can basically make it so that if you normal it, you can special another one, and then you have 2 level 3 monsters because all of them are, and then you can go into your Big Gabonga. But also, if this card is in your graveyard during our main phase, we can detach 1 XYZ material from a monster on either field, once again either field, and if we do a special summon this card, but banishes it when it leaves the field. So now we have once again 2 level 3s, and here's a core play that you will always make with this deck. We go into XYZ Armor Torpedo. We can detach 2 from this card to draw 1, so 1 random card, and then we can upgrade it into the Armor Fortress, because once per turn we can also XYZ summon Armor Fortress by using 1 rank 3 or 4 XYZ monster we control, and this is the monster we just used here. So this is now as a material under this, and then we can use the second effect, which says we can detach up to 2 materials from this card, add armored XYZ cards with different names from your deck equal to the number of the detached cards. So in this case we can only detach 1, of course, because we only have 1, and we are grabbing another trap card, the full armored XYZ card we already have in the game. If an XYZ monster is on the field, which will be the case in a moment, immediately after this effect resolves, XYZ summon 1 XYZ monster using monsters you control, and we can also banish this card from our graveyard and then target 1 XYZ monster we control, equip 1 other XYZ monster from your face-up field or graveyard to this monster as an equip spell, which is quite nice because we can then afterwards trigger basically the second effect from the Goblin Biker Big Gabonga. So we are setting the 2 cards here. This might not look like much, but it actually is. And always remember that we also have 4 cards in the hand, which are hand traps or other extenders, so you can definitely go into more of your extra deck here. Might also be able to go into a Bamboozling Gossip Shadow for monster negates, but I will show you that in the next combo. We also have an IP that can go into SP, obviously, you know the play, and then we have other stuff that you can also end up on if the cards in your hand are right, like a DD Wave King High Caesar. So what we can do now is attach with the end phase effect from the Goblin Biker Big Gabonga and Goblin monster from the deck to this card. So we are attaching Goblin Biker Klettersplotter because Klettersplotter is quite nice. It has the ability to, in the main phase during our opponent's main phase, if this card is in the graveyard, which it will be in a moment, quick effect, we can detach 1 XYZ material from a monster on the field and special summon this. And the cool thing is, if this card is normal or special, we can target 1 Goblin Biker monster in our graveyard and special summon it. So this will be our extender or the card that brings us new material to work with on the next turn. So let our opponent set some cards here. Unfortunately, because I used the calculator or the program here a bit incorrectly, I had to pass over once again. So just imagine that this is the first turn our opponent takes, and now he basically sets another card and moves on to the end phase, and now we are starting to activate. So the first thing that you can make on your opponent's turn is full armored XYZ. We are targeting the XYZ Armor Fortress here to rank up into the boss monster, the full armored Dark Knight Lancer. Full armored Dark Knight Lancer says once per turn you can also XYZ summon full armored Dark Knight Lancer by using 1 rank 5 or 6, but this doesn't matter right now. It gains 300 attack for each material and equip card it has, and once per turn we can target 1 XYZ card in our graveyard and add it to our hand. And then once per turn, if an equip card becomes equipped to a monster we control, we can attach 1 monster our opponent controls to this card as a material. And this is what we are going to do now. We are going to use the second effect of full armored XYZ, banishing the card, to equip our Dark Knight Lancer with the XYZ Armor Torpedo, and now we can choose one of the cards on our opponent's field and attach it to this card as a material. Also it gains attack points. The next thing we can do after we have used, and this is something you want to do before you use the Goblin Biker Grand Pile Up here, you want to basically use the second effect of the Goblin Biker Big Gabonga. If there is material detached from a monster on the field, we can target one face a monster on the field except this one and attach this card to this one as a material. So this is something that you want to use before you do the next play with the Goblin Biker Grand Pile Up here, which says target 1 XYZ monster we control, special summon 1 Goblin XYZ monster from our extra deck. So we are overlaying this guy basically for Goblin's Crazy Beast, and the other cards will be attached to the Goblin's Crazy Beast as a material. So Goblin's Crazy Beast says that we can, once per turn quick effect, we can detach, we can target 1 spell trap on the field, so either ours or the opponent's, detach 2 materials from a monster on the field. You don't need to be this one, can also be this one, for example. And if we do, we attach that targeted card to this card as a material, so this is a spell trap steal interruption basically. And if a monster we control would be destroyed by card effect, we can also detach raw material from this card instead to protect. And if this card is in our graveyard, we also have the ability to special summon this card, and then we can attach 1 Goblin monster from our graveyard to this card as material, once again making it basically live. And this is also a very big body that you can use to basically finish the game if you have stopped your opponent. And remember that I'm now in the end phase, so this does not work, but remember that you can use this to get the Goblin Biker Klettersplotter to the graveyard, and the Goblin Biker Klettersplotter in your opponent's main phase, where this interruption normally will happen, will then be able to special summon from the graveyard. And then you can, because the Goblin Biker Big Gabonga that is now under the Crazy Beast will also be in the graveyard, because you have detached the Big Gabonga as well as the Klettersplotter, you will then be able to use Klettersplotter's effect to special summon Big Gabonga, giving you more monsters on the field to finish your opponent off, or having follow-up, because obviously Klettersplotter is also a level 3, and then you can continue your rank 3 XYZ plays from there basically. And remember, this all happened with 1 card in the hand, and you will have multiple more cards and also hand traps. Let me now show you what you can do with 1 Terratop, which is another important starter in your deck that you need to understand the basic combo for. So the next thing is our Speedroid Terror Top here. Remember that I will go over the deck profile afterwards. If we control no monsters, we can special summon this, and then we can also add a Speedroid monster. We are, and you know this combo by now, I guess, at the Speedroid Taketombok, which we can special summon because we control a wind monster. We have 2 level 3s now, which means our Goblin Biker Bigabonga is coming. We are once again adding the Duck Charger because it's just so convenient to summon him and then also add something. This time around though, we will not add the Trap card because we have started a bit differently here. Remember, we don't have the Mean Merciless in the graveyard that we had in the graveyard last turn. We are grabbing the Goblin Biker Grand Entrance. Add 1 Goblin Biker monster from your deck to your hand, then we can apply the following effect. Detach 1 XYZ material from a monster on the field, and if we do that, special summon 1 level 4 or lower Goblin monster from our hand. We can also banish this card from our graveyard to detach 1 XYZ material from a monster on the field, and then we can add 1 Goblin monster from grave to hand, and we can use both of the effects once, and we will use them both in a moment here. So Goblin Biker Grand Entrance will grab us the Clatter Splotter. Once again, we have already seen this card, and now, as I already read here, basically we can detach 1 material from the Bigabonga and special summon the Clatter Splotter. And obviously we once again have 2 level 3s. This time around though, we will make it a bit differently. We make the XYZ Armor Torpedo, and we are going to draw a random card by detaching those 2, and now we are using both of our XYZs to go into number 0 Utopic Future and then into a number 0 Utopic Draco Future, which obviously is a negate that will be live on our opponent's turn, because it says once per turn when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card and negate that activation. Then if that monster is on the field, gain control of it. So a very, very strong interruption. Also, you are not able, if I remember this correctly, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. So this is a very hard interruption to get rid of. I would suggest if you use this effect here to detach the Goblin Biker Bigabonga for the effect, because this is one that you can still use in the graveyard to, for example, resummon it with the Clatter Splotter light I showed you in the combo before. What we are going to do now is use Goblin Biker Grand Entrance, re-adding to our hand by detaching the Utopic to add the Clatter Splotter back to hand, and we still have our normal summon left, remember here. Now we can activate Clatter Splotter to target the Duck Charger, special summon, and we are once again making a rank 3 XYZ into Bamboozling a Gossip Shadow. Once per turn, when an opponent's monster activates its effect, quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card. The activated effect becomes both players draw 1 card. We can also target 1 other number XYZ monster we control, attach this card to it as material. You could attach this to this as material if you wanted to, but obviously this doesn't make any sense. So we are ending on these cards here. We have Monster Negate and this Monster Negate here, which is also not, or you can't basically destroy this card, you cannot destroy by battle and card effect. And then if you have detached the Bigabonga for the effect, you also have a follow-up in the graveyard in the form of the Clatter Splotter. If you have used the effect of the Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, you also draw a card for the next turn. The combo with the tour guide is definitely stronger, but this is also quite nice, and remember that you still have 4 cards in your hand. So let's now go over into the deck profile and I show you how a potential deck could look like that you can play on release day. Alright guys, welcome back, and this is the deck list that Alright guys, welcome back, and this is the deck list that I would recommend you play on the day of release. Obviously, we will have to see how all of it works out, especially with Temper Dragon, whether the field spell will be at 1 or it will be at 3. At the moment, we don't know it quite yet. We have a triple Goblin Biker Duck Charger, as I've showed you basically in the combos. This is a very important one that you can basically always use as an extender, which can also search Goblin Biker spell or trap. Very, very impactful. The Clatter Splotter you only need 1 of because you can search it. But if this card is normal special summon, we can basically special summon something from the graveyard. Not as important, but also a very good card. We also have the Goblin Biker Boom Mech. Once per turn during the main phase, if this card is in our hand or graveyard, we can detach 1 XYZ material and then we can special summon. Also, we cannot special summon this until the next turn. So another extender that can be made by detaching something. So this is very important. So you need these important starters like your Terror Top or your Tour Guide from the Underworld to get the play starting, because otherwise you won't have an XYZ to detach stuff from, so you can't use all of these bonus effects of some of the level 3s here. So for example, this one is a very nice one. I've showed you this already, because if you have any other one in the hand, you can basically just normal summon and then special summon the other one, and you will be able to make a level rank 3, which is normally the big Gabonga. We have the Goblin Biker Mean Merciless at 1. Goblin Biker Grand Entrance at 3. This is just nice, adds any card to the hand, and then you can also afterwards summon, and you have the graveyard effect. This is no-brainer no-brainer card, very strong. We have the Goblin Biker Grand Bash. Goblin Biker monsters we control gain 300 attack for each Goblin monsters we control, so another good card to finish. And during our main phase we can normal summon one Goblin monster in addition to our normal summon set. Another very important card, obviously, to get another level 3 body on the field, so we can go into our ranked plays here, and then we can target 2 Goblin monsters we control and activate one of these effects. We can basically make the level of one of the monsters become the current level of the other, so if one is higher than 3, the other one could also be 3, or both of the levels become their combined original levels. This will be more important in the future when the last support wave of this deck will arrive. It's not that important right now, but also a good effect. We have Goblin Biker Grand Crisis, which says we can target one Goblin monster we control and one monster our opponent controls, or one Goblin monster in our graveyard and one monster in your opponent's graveyard, so either field or graveyard, basically banish both. We can also send this face-up card from our spell trap zone to the graveyard, then target 5 of our banished Goblin monsters with different names and special summon them, so another good finisher card. But we can only use one effect of this card once per turn. This is a continuous step, very nice, another interruption that you could get, or maybe this also ends up in your hand and you can use it right there. We have the triple toolkit from the Underworld, I've talked about this already. We also have a reinforcement of the army that we can use to get, now that I see it, I have to think about, we can get the Goblin Biker Duck Charger, which is like a very good extender. I have talked about this already. We have 2 emergency teleport here, also very nice to get a 1 level 3 psychic monster from our deck to the field. If they happen to unban this at some point, you would want to play this at 3. We obviously have triple infinite impermanence. We have another starter point, basically you can also summon them with the emergency teleport, and if we control a level 3 monster other than this one, we can also special summon this. This one basically says the same, so these are just 2 level 3 extenders that you can use, very strong. We are obviously playing 1 Pot of Prosperity to get to our starters, 2 Terror Top and 1 Tekatomborg I just shown you. We have triple Max C with triple Ash Blossom, no brainer. We need this 1 full armored XYZ. There's one a bit random upstart Goblin, but cycling through our deck to getting to the important cards is quite nice. Then again, this is an ultra rare, so you don't need to play this. You can also play another one of the Goblin Biker level 3s if you want a bit more consistency, I guess. Then again, upstart Goblin is just a +1 draw 1, so this is also consistency. We have Goblin Biker Grand Pileup. I've shown you this card, Speed Roy Tekatomborg, and then in my opinion you should go ahead and play Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, at least at the release of this video, because Tempai will be the strongest deck in the entire game. In my opinion, it will still be the strongest deck even if we get the field spell at 1, so having the Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit to hit the field spell is very impactful, and against the rest of the meta you also have very good usage for this card, so I think it's no brainer playing this. This is, by the way, also level 3, so this works together with this deck quite well, but obviously you don't really want to use this to make your XYZs, but you can. We have 2 Goblin Biker Big Gabonga. I've shown you this, our starter card. We have 1 Goblin Biker Troika Griare. Also 2 level 3 monsters, while 3 or more XYZ materials are attached to monsters on the field, so not hard to get this. Goblin monsters you control can attack directly, so very strong to finish the game attack over some very strong opponent's monsters once per turn. If a monster is normal or special summoned while this card is in the monster zone, we can target one of those monsters that was normal or special, and we can detach 1 material from monster on either field, and if we do that, we change the targeted monster's battle position. So not that impactful. Once per turn, when an opponent monster declares an attack, we can detach one material from a monster on either field and negate the attack. So this is not like a bad card, but this is also not a card that you want to make and pass over to your opponent, because this is not really an interruption. But you can use this for the first effect, which is nice, that our Goblin Biker monsters can attack directly. So it helps us kill. We have an IP Masquerina combo with the SP Lidden Light, not something you have to play, but something you can play. I think the Bamboo Sling Gossip Shadow is quite nice as a monster negate. You can obviously play a Zeus in here. We are playing an XYZ deck after all. You are playing the Torpedo together with the Fortress and Dark Knight Lancer. This is, in my opinion, one of the strongest packages that you can play here. Then we have this DD Wave King High Caesar that actually I have to take out now that I think about it, because you will be able to make this in the future with the additional cards that will come here, but not right now, unfortunately. We have Goblin's Crazy Beast. One of this is enough, in my opinion. Then you can play this number F0 Utopic package here, and we also have an Ashura King that we can use. While this card has material, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of materials with 2/1 at the start of the damage step. If this card battle, it gains 200 attack, and when another monster's effect is activated, quick effect, we can detach material from this card and negate the activation, and if we do, destroy that card. You can also use this and place this on the field as an interruption if you wanted to. This is a more flexible one that you can use in your turn, but also in the opponent's turn, and feel free to use the last spot however you want to use it. You could go for another bigger bonga. Then again, this will also probably be an ultra rare, so it doesn't need to. The last spot is free for you. If you have any more questions concerning the Goblin bucket deck, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you are playing this deck and what you are hyped for, what you will play, what specific text maybe, what text in the extra deck, what are you looking for. Let me know in the comments, and we will see each other in the next one.